This is People of the State of Michigan versus Sage Andrus, docket number 21-177FH. And I'm informed that this will be a plea. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And which count or counts is he pleading to? Either one of you?
Counts 1 and 2, Your Honor.
1 and 2, okay. And Mr. Andrus, I have an address for you on Maple Street. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how far did you go in school?
I graduated.
Okay. And do you work right now?
Yep, I work at Rand's Corner Store.
Where at again?
It's called Rand's Corner Store.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Andrus, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Ms. Vinsky. And Ms. Vinsky, if he's pleading to counts 1 and 2, will you waive reading of count 3?
I do, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, would you read counts 1 and 2, please?
In the state of Michigan, County of Ingham, in the name of the people of the state of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about January 14th, 2021, at Edgewood near Richard in the city of Lansing, Ingham County, the defendant did in count 1 commit the offense of possession of methamphetamine or ecstasy, that he did knowingly or intentionally possess methamphetamine contrary to Michigan law. This is a felony punishable by up to 10 years and or $15,000. Unless sentenced to more than 1 year in prison, the court shall impose license sanctions pursuant to Michigan law. And in count 2, did commit the offense of carrying a concealed weapon, that he did carry a dangerous weapon, to wit, a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, to wit, a Honda Accord, contrary to Michigan law. This is a felony punishable by up to 5 years or $2,500 mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device, and was committed against the peace and dignity of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Andrus, you're being charged here with first possession of methamphetamine, a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison, and carrying a pistol in an automobile, a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Also, if you were on parole at the time either of these offenses was committed, you'd be subject to a mandatory consecutive sentence. Have you had enough time to talk about these charges with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay, and how do you want to plead?
Guilty.
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with the trial. That means you'll be giving up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll be giving up the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll give up your right to have the witnesses against you appear at a trial and to be able to cross-examine them, as well as the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. You'll give up the right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or if you wanted to, your right to testify at the trial. Also, there are 2 things that are different about appeals when you plead guilty. One is when you plead guilty, you don't get an automatic right to appeal your case to the higher court. Instead, you have to ask them to hear your case, and they have to agree to hear it. The other thing that's different is when you plead guilty, there are many issues that you simply cannot appeal to the higher court. Unlike when someone goes to trial, if they get convicted, they can appeal everything. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I accept your plea, it also means that you cannot come back later on and try to say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
It also means you cannot come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a plea agreement, Ms. Allen?
There is, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's successful plea and sentence to count 1 and count 2, The people agree to dismiss count 3 on the felony information. There's also a sentence agreement pursuant to People versus Killebrew that the defendant received no upfront jail. The people also consent to him receiving treatment under the Home Youthful Training Act.
And Ms. Vinsky, is that a full and complete statement?
That is a full and complete statement.
Mr. Andrus, was all of that your understanding of the agreement as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree with it?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, there's an agreement here about your sentence, and that is that you would receive no upfront jail. If I decided not to go along with that, I would tell you before I sentenced you, and I would give you a chance, if you wanted to take back this plea and start all over. You got all of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Has anyone promised you anything else that hasn't been said here right now in order to get you to plead guilty?
Not at all, ma'am.
Has anyone used any threats?
No, they haven't.
Is this your own choice to do it?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And are you doing it because you believe you are in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's talk about January 14th of this year then, and tell me what you did regarding, we'll start with the count 1, the methamphetamine.
I mean, I had some on me and I was using at the time. And
Okay.
I even told this to the trooper that pulled me over, like I didn't really want to anymore. And as kind of bad a way of going about getting clean as this is, definitely an effective way.
Yes, and I've seen that many times. So you knew that the methamphetamine was on you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew that it was methamphetamine.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
So then did that trooper look in your car?
Yes, after they spotted the handgun, they searched the vehicle, and I did let them know that it was there because, I mean, they're going to search the vehicle top to bottom, and I figured I might as well not waste anybody's time with it and just be honest about it.
Okay, so you had a handgun in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew that it was there?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you put it there?
Yes, I did. It was actually in my coat pocket.
Okay, but and then you were in the car, so the gun was in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you had no permit to carry that gun at that time in that way?
No, not at that time.
Yes. And this all happened in the area of Edgewood and Richard in Lansing, Ingham County, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Vinsky?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Vinsky?
No, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted, and sentencing date is Monday, June 7th at 3:30, if that works with your schedule, Ms. Vinsky.
I believe it does, Your Honor. Let me just double check. Yes, it does.
Okay, so Mr. Andrus, do you agree? I have to get your consent to sentence you via Zoom. So do you think that's going to be okay with you?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, thank you. Then that will be on June 7th, Monday, June 7th at 3:30. You should just know that prior to that date, much prior to that date, you'll have a contact from the Ingham County Adult Probation Department. They're going to want to set up an interview with you. It'll be a remote interview, but they need to do that in order to prepare the report that I'll use for sentencing. So make sure that you make that arrangement. As a matter of fact, if you don't hear from them in the next couple of days, then you should contact the probation department at 483-6100 and tell them that you need to schedule an interview. So if you have no questions, that will conclude our hearing. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I do not.
All right, very good. Your bond is continued, and we will see you then on June 7th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That will conclude our hearing.